Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Terran Crime Family, written by Totally a Ninja. Don't harm the young. A simple rule. The most simple rule one can follow. Any sentient creature with morality shouldn't have trouble even countering it. Those who fail will find out who enforces it. Before the Terrans reached the stars, the young were protected, yes, but laws can only go so far. People found loopholes, hid their immoral acts, or simply didn't care for the Galactic Council's ruling. In war, civilian casualties were not unexpected. Those of the sentient variety with empathy mourned the loss of any life. Then the Terrans arrived. They beheld the Galactic Council and its actions and left in disgust. They declared that they would not deal with monsters. Monsters, not of the dark, but monsters of the stars. They sent us their history, culture, and reasoning. We looked upon it and laughed. Those of us who had empathy felt ashamed and strived to do better. Some tried to live up to it, others mocked it, declaring humans the epitome of arrogance. Whilst the majority of Terrans abide by the rules of contact established by their governing bodies, many still pushed out in wonder and independence. Their governing bodies kept tabs, but allowed them to live and let live. Explorers and colonists sought new frontiers. Scientists and xenophiles rushed out to learn of the great galaxy, and their merchants sought untapped markets, opportunities for any and all to take, including those of the more nefarious nature. Amongst the Terrans who left their home system, none were as more infamous as the Stellaris crime family. They moved goods, people, and were armed to the teeth. They took over the entire markets within weeks of showing their intent. Many claimed they received government backing, only claiming to be independent to draw away attention. As organizations complained, they grew. As diplomats and ambassadors raised complaints, they grew. And even when the Galactic Council as a whole declared their plan to intervene, they still grew. Within the year, they were the largest Terran organization by a landslide, holding chunks in every market possible. They specialized in Terran goods, but dabbled in regional goods as well, often selling their caffeine, sweets, and spices for local drugs in bulk. They struck slavers and traders stealing their stock, those slaves often bound by a contract to their company. They put on smiles as they are forced to serve goods at their place of employment. The only solace that they aren't under the tsitsi slavers, never to see their families again. Stellaris members are easily identified by their large gatherings as they strategize their expansion further, often speaking in odd code and slang undecipherable to even other Terrans cannot comprehend. Though, interestingly, most Terrans are neutral, if not apathetic, to the existence of the Stellaris family. What really got the attention of the Galactic Council was when the recording was spread of the Tsitsi slaver attacking a Zigbee ship and moving their young in tanks to be sold. The Stellaris family put out a public message naming the Tsitsi directly and demanding an ultimatum. Return the young safe and sound or face retribution in full. They laughed as they prepared for engagement. After all, the Galactic Council could not stop them. What could one organization do? They weren't safe. Anyone with affiliation with them weren't safe. In the void, in the system, and in their own homes. Everywhere they went, there were Stellaris members or associates who were willing to do the job. Their ships and fleets were hunted en masse, boarded and claimed. Bases and hubs were raided by anything with a heartbeat and a will. Terrans didn't need to prepare weapons or armor. They used what was available and made do. Camps were liberated and the slaves were freed, though they were contracted later and for their services to the company. The council attempted to intervene. They were not warned twice. Any attempts to contact them would be returned with an automated message concerning their just ad bellum, the protection of young first and foremost. Those who tried to impede Terran efforts were met in turn with a slap on the wrist in lieu of a live weapons demonstration and reporting of undetermined errors in targeting. The Council quickly stepped back and decided it was for the better that the Terrans did what they did to the Tsetsi. By the end of the following year of the first proclamation, the Tsetsi were re-established under its current high class, close allies with the Terrans in general and seemingly merged into the Stellaris family. Others clearly lacked pattern recognition, and within the end of the decade, the Pyakchak waged war and targeted civilians, going so far as to broadcast their atrocities to the Galactic Council to show their might. The Stellaris family responded first. So on and so forth, until we reach today, just under a century since the Stellaris crime family first showed their hand, the unspoken rule enforced by the worst of the Terrans. Fear the Terran Stellaris crime family. For as long as you play by their rules, the universe is a better place. End of story. Story number 2. The Multiversal Constant. Written by Fox Corp. Ever since the great minds of the 27th Scientific Convergence pierced the multiversal medium some 100,000 years ago, the Teflan conglomerate has scoured the multiverse in hopes of finding the unfindable. From the very beginning, our greatest minds posited that for the multiverse to be accessible, there must be something that links all of the universes together, a tether of incomprehensible size and importance. For those 100,000 years, we searched, but alas, we found nothing. It was written off as a theoretical concept, and if it was real, it was assumed to be unreachable at best, simply non-existent at worst. In my thousands of years of searching, I never, in my wildest dreams, expected it to be me to actually find it. By some twist of fate, I was the one who found it. It started with an echo, a trail that led to a spiral galaxy far away from any charted regions of space. It contained very little worth noting, containing only 4 species, with the most advanced being a meager Type 1. This echo magnified the intensity the closer I got to the sub-Type 1 civilization. This was nothing too unusual. Echoes were formed by any multiversal-capable vehicle traveling through an area. I figured this civilization must have been situated on a natural interdimensional rift without even realizing it. I decided to check it out, just in case I could find a natural rift big enough to be turned into a proper gateway. Upon approaching this civilization, I was faced with what at the time seemed to be an unexplainable anomaly with my senses. The readings were off the charts. The sensors were telling me a full-fledged multiversal tear was present in the system. I knew this couldn't be true. Over the course of 100,000 years, only a single multiversal tear had been found. It was created after the first multiversal engine was activated. I reset my sensors 29 times, fabricated new sensors 5 times, rewrote the software 12 times, calibrated the sensors to my surroundings each time, checked my settings against all travelers in a 70 multiverse radius, and got the same results every time. Not only did the system I was approaching contain a multiversal tear, but it was also 8 billion times more powerful than the tear formed by the multiversal engine. After hectic calls for backup, confirmation, and permission, I entered the system. Immediately upon entry, my senses went haywire. They couldn't pinpoint what universe I currently occupied. More accurately, they couldn't identify what universe I didn't occupy. I was in every universe, all at once. Within all of the chaos, there was even more immersed multiversal radiance to be discovered, emanating from the third planet around the star. There appeared to be a singularity of multiversal linkage. By now, I had a problem. I couldn't receive orders from my government. I'd asked for instructions and received them immediately from an infinite number of governments. Every single universe in existence could hear my call, at least all the universes that contained governments. Every single government tried to reply, crashing my systems instantly every single time I tried. I tried to move closer to this enigmatic third planet, but found the closer I got, the more multiversal energy it took to pierce the veil. I came to a shocking conclusion that not only could the planet not be reached, but it also couldn't perceive me. They saw only one universe, their universe, and every universe all at the same time. It was nothing more than a blip of multiversal glue, and inconsequential in the grand scheme of infinity. After centuries of careful study, observation, celebration, and bewilderment, our great thinkers found out what the singularity was. It wasn't a planet, a stellar anomaly, a star, a construct, or even a mortal deity, as some had proposed, but a single species. Humanity. They saw their universe as the only universe. Where they went, this universe followed. Where they observed, this universe obeyed. They saw us, just not us. Dark matter and dark energy. That's what they knew us as. The great attractors, the great repellers. They saw the universe clearly, the sum of all of its parts, and all of us and all of them. They, humanity, had somehow pierced the veil, maybe even created the multiverse itself. I have resigned myself to eternal study of these wonderful apes. Perhaps one day we'll pierce the veil once again, reaching into and grabbing a hold of the same ability to clearly see infinity as they do. A man can only dream. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons: Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lord Azrakal, Dragzoon WRE, Holly Sister, Ambrose Cattell, and Quantum Wednesday. Thank you very much.